Hey guys, it's John with ReelBlue Custom Rods, and today we're going to talk about Pro Wrap's Versablend, and we're going to use the violet color that you see back here in the background. And what I wanted to do is I just wanted to show you what this color looks like with this type of thread and the patterns that you can achieve from it, and then talk about a couple of things that you need to consider when you're utilizing that thread. So let's just go ahead. I've already started a wrap here, and I'm just going to kind of come in, tighten that down a little bit, and cut this running end off. So we'll just go ahead. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to run about probably 2.5 inches of this thread. Loosen that up a little bit. And just to show you, I feel like 2.5 inches is probably a good enough length of thread for you to be able to see what kind of pattern you can get out of here. So as you can see this pattern starting to come out already, and I'm just hand turning this. I could of course put this on a power wrapper and make quick business of this, but I'm just going to go ahead and so you can see we're already starting to get some lines here, and this violet pattern, you can see it's got, probably about 3 different colors mixed into that. And I want you to see what this pattern will do for you, and where we can apply it. And basically, these Versablends, in my opinion, these Versablend threads from Pro Wrap, they're a metallic thread, 100-yard spools, size A is what they come in. And they basically make kind of like a tiger wrap or kind of a camo pattern. And they're all a little bit different. This one really takes on more of something like a tiger wrap, where some of the other threads look like kind of a camouflage pattern, which I'll make other videos on to show you. But you can see this is coming out. And we got kind of this tiger wrap, purple line here. And, it's a little irregular, but let's keep wrapping, because I want you guys to see what this will do. All right, so now we can see how this is pretty irregular. It just kind of moves around. It kind of moves around a little bit, a little greater space between here and here versus back over here. But this will all change. And once it does, I will show you why it will change. So, the way these Versablend threads are made, with the colors that are on them, it's there to make these different irregular patterns. And what's cool about that is using something like a Versablend thread is going to help you achieve a very individual, customized look, really with little to no effort on your part, right? It's just because the way the thread is made, every time you wrap it, you're not going to have the same wrap every time you use the Versablend thread. And you kind of don't know what you're going to get until you wrap. And that's just because, again, the way it's manufactured and where the colors are at in that thread. Sometimes you can have very tight spaces between these purple pieces, and you can have very, loose or open spaces in purple. So I'm just taking a look. Yes, I'm over 2. So I'm just going to go about 2 3/4. What I want is I really want this to change pattern for you. Oops. Went over a little bit. There we go. There's kind of a bigger change. So you can really see this larger gap here that we're creating. Again, just the irregularity of the thread. So you can see how that's a lot wider look. And so there's some things that you need to consider. All right. Of course, one is the length, the length of the spot that you're going to wrap. And I may go just a little bit longer because I really want to see how this will come out. So I'm just going to go for about another 1/4 inch. I'm just going to do about 3 inches, and then I'll kind of show you a couple things. All right. Okay. Cut that off a little bit. I'm going to take my size D white thread. All right. All right. So I've got that. You just go ahead and come back and cut this off. All right. So here's that final pattern. Now, here's what you need to understand, again, with when you're working with a Pro Wrap Versablend. Again, 100-yard spools, which is plenty, depending on what type of build you're doing, in size A metallic, right? So here's what you need to consider. The pattern that you see here is not the exact same pattern you would get if you were going to make your own wrap on your own fishing rod. It's going to be different. Again, it's just the way the thread is manufactured with the colors and the spacing between the colors. And every time you do it, as myself, if I just move this rod over and start wrapping again, I would get a totally different wrap on it. I'd get a totally different look. So if I just came back up here, bear with me. So let's just start this right here. And I don't think I'm going to go a full 3 inches on this one, but I just want you guys to see. So if we just start spinning this, Let's see what kind of pattern we're going to come out with. Oh yeah, see, totally different already. So where you can see this purple line right here is all my darker purple is right there concentrated versus going around in loops. So actually, we're going to go a little bit on this one. And again, you know, I didn't do any magic here, right? I basically stopped doing a thread in one spot, started it in a different spot, and the thread is giving me a totally different look than what we had before. This is kind of almost like a heartbeat look on this one, actually. So let's keep wrapping just a little bit, see what comes out of this thing. Oh yeah, it's really starting to change, I think, a little bit. Excuse me. And then, of course, you know, you can change things up a little bit, you know, tension, and some other things that come into play. So now you can see the line is totally different here, right? It's all the same back here in the back, but that dark violet purple is really kind of staying on one side of the rod, and it dips and then comes back up almost like, you know, an EKG or like a heartbeat. Whereas the other one gave us more of a tiger stripe wrap. All right, and so I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go another whole 3 inches here. Let me go ahead and tie this off. And then we'll talk about this. All right, and we'll come back with my burnishing tool and pull that tight. We'll take our razor blade, snip that off, and then just one more time. And now if I did it for a third time, I'm telling you, I would have a totally different pattern. So let's look at the first pattern. So we really kind of have this tiger stripe look with this violet Versablend from ProWrap. You know, again, only comes in 100-yard spools of size A metallic thread. So I started my thread and I just started wrapping, and this is the pattern that came out. I cut the thread, you know, I finished that wrap, I cut it, and then just for an example, I started a second one, and we have a totally different pattern where we don't have any of that dark violet really on either side of the rod except for just one, and it kind of has that, you know, up and down, you know, thing as an EKG, and it comes down and it comes back up. And so that's a great thing about this Versablend stuff is every time you wrap it, it's going to be different because you're always starting in a different spot on the thread. That's one reason. So every time you attach the thread to your blank and you start tying it or start wrapping it, the colors are going to lay different, which is going to really give you a individual customized look on every time you wrap it. And this is a great way to, one, have unique wraps on a rod, but two, another way to ensure every rod is always different if you're really trying to achieve a custom look on the rods that you build. So, you know, like I don't build one rod the same unless I'm doing that on purpose for a customer's order, buying multiple rods, right? So other things you need to consider when you are using ProWrap Versablend thread. The other things that are going to affect the outcome of your wrap is diameter, right? So the diameter of the blank is going to impact your pattern. This is a 2-piece fly blank. This is the bottom portion of a 2-piece fly blank. You know, it's got kind of a cool pattern here this different EKG looking pattern here. But if this was a thicker, heavier freshwater or saltwater build, that's definitely going to change the look of the pattern, just because the colors will lie next to each other differently. The second thing you need to consider is the diameter of the rod as the rod tapers is going to change, which is going to cause your colors to start to lay closer to each other the further you work towards the tip of the rod. So if I'm back here in the back of the rod or the butt area of the rod, my colors are going to lie, at a certain space as they lay next to each other. And then as the rod tapers and gets a smaller diameter, if I continue to do a longer wrap, the pattern will also start to change. So those are the things that you need to consider. Now, where or when would I use, something like a Versablend? Hey, these are great really for anything that you would use metallic thread for, again, to give you a customized look. Under wraps for your guides, under wraps under your decorative wraps. You can use these in trim bands. There's a lot of different things that you can do, again, to help give you a very customized look. Again, this is the Pro Wrap Versablend violet color, size A, 100-yard spools. I would use this for any type of decorative wrap, as a by itself standalone decorative wrap, especially if I'm getting some sort of pattern like this. I would use this as an under wrap for a decorative wrap. If I was going to come back over this with maybe some size D or size 3 nylon thread. And I would also use this as an under wrap for guide wraps. And I would also use this for tag wraps, help give you just kind of a customized tag wrap. And you can even use these as inlays and get kind of a cool pattern if you're going to do an inlay with a different type of thread, which I would prefer here to use a nylon thread with this if I was going to do an inlay. So I hope this helps. I hope you found the video useful. Make sure you hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel before, you're new to the channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. That way you're notified every time I publish a video on Mondays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on Thursdays, usually, at midnight Thursday morning. Make sure you smash the like button. Until next time, take care, guys, and make sure you watch this next video here. Take care. Bye.